The first step is to check the receiving area for new shipments of reels that have arrived. Unbox the reels and check them quickly for any damage. Lay out all of the reels and get a picture of them to take inventory so there are no discrepancies in the future. When you're done with that, you can put the reels back into the box they came in. The next step after receiving the films is to take them downstairs to the basement to be cleaned. You'll want to make sure that you have an extra box to put the clean films in once you're done with them to keep things organized. To clean 8mm films, you will use the smaller device on the table to the right. First, you will want to notice the plastic blue reel on the device. Make sure that this reel has the small white plastic adapter placed into the center of it, so it will fit on the mount, and secure it with a small metal tab. Next, you will remove the film from its case and set the case aside. Make sure the film is somewhat tight by pulling it through the reel. Don't pull too hard though. Now place the film on the lower mount of the device with the film feeding out from the top of the reel and towards the top of the blue reel. Secure the reel on the mount with the metal tab. Now we will quickly clean the beginning of the film. First, take a paper towel, rip it into a few pieces, and fold it a few times until you have a square that you can fold over between your fingers. Then drip some of the cleaning solution onto it. Take the beginning of the film with the paper towel in hand, pinch your fingers on the film, and run it all the way to the end. Set aside the paper towel for now and find the small opening on the blue reel and position it to the top. Now take the beginning of the film and feed it into the opening of the blue reel. Rotate the blue reel so the film is being wound into it until the film catches. Now that there is tension between the two reels, you can take the paper towel, pinch the film lightly between your two fingers, and continue reeling the film into the blue reel. Check the paper towel from time to time to make sure it has enough cleaning solution on it. Once you have finished cleaning the film and it is entirely on the blue reel, you will need to remove each of the reels from the mounts and switch them. The original reel can be placed on the upper mount either way. However, you will need to remove the small plastic adapter from the blue reel, spin the reel around, put it back on the other side, and then place the blue reel on the lower mount. Now the blue reel should be feeding the film out the top and towards the other reel, like we did before, and you should be able to find an opening on the original reel to feed the film into. Just like before, rotate the film until it catches. Now you do not need to clean the film anymore, but it will be helpful to take the paper towel and apply a small amount of pressure to the top of the blue reel to create some tension, and stop the blue reel from wobbling. This should make it easier for you to wind it back into the original reel. Once the film is back onto the original reel, you can remove it from the mount and place it back into its case. Then put the film in the extra box. It is a good idea to label the boxes cleaned and not cleaned, along with the name of the customer who has donated the films to stay organized. If you are inspecting a film and notice a tear or break, you will need to repair it using either the 16mm splicer as seen here, or doing it by hand for 8mm films. When fixing an 8mm film, do not cover both sets of sprockets with tape. Try to only cover one side. Moving on to cleaning 16mm films. This process is very similar to the 8mm, only with a larger cleaning device. The original reel with the film is placed onto the right mount and will remain there until the end. The original reel will be placed with the film feeding out the top towards the reel to the left. Once you have secured the original reel on the right mount, use the paper towel and cleaning solution to clean the beginning of the film. Then find the opening on the empty metal reel to the left and put the film into it. Rotate the empty metal reel to the left until the film catches. Now that there is tension between the two reels, get the paper towel with the cleaning solution in your right hand and grab the handle on the left with your left hand. Make sure you are pushing in slightly with the handle because it will spin freely of the reel otherwise. Now lightly pinch the film between your fingers holding the paper towel. The reels spin opposite the direction you spin the handle, so spin the handle clockwise and the film will begin to feed into the empty metal reel. Once the film is entirely on the other reel, you will want to take the end of the film back to the original reel, find the opening, put it in, and then spin the reel until it catches. Now you can use your right hand to spin the right handle counterclockwise while using something like a piece of cardboard on top of the left reel to add tension. Once the film is back onto the original reel, you can remove it from the mount and place it back into its case. Then put the film into the clean box. Then you can move on to the next 60mm film and repeat the process. That is all the steps you need to know when it comes to cleaning 8mm and 60mm films. We will start with converting 8mm films. First, turn on the computer and open the CineCap Velocity HD program. Under File Settings, Drive for Processing, make sure that you are processing to the external 8mm processing drive. On the capture screen, type the customer's name in the customer section. Delete the 001 and replace it with R1. Before processing the next reel, you will need to rename it to Reel 2 and so on. Next, turn on the projector using the switch labeled Power and the icon screen with the button at the bottom right corner. This knob controls rewind, neutral, and play. For now, you're going to want to leave it in the neutral position. Now you are ready to start mounting the film and feeding it through the projector. You will be mounting the film on the empty mount to the right with the sprocket holes towards you like this. Now feed the film down and around the peg below and through the projector like so. Once you have done that, place the film on the plastic reel to the left. It should grip on its own as you spin the reel. Once the film catches on the reel, you can turn the knob to the play position. You should now see the film on your screen in the program window. It may not be in focus or framed incorrectly. Go to the switch labeled Motor and flick it on. The film should start being fed through the projector. Now you can adjust the settings using this knob to adjust the exposure. And this tab to move the frame left and right. You can use the zoom function on the camcorder to zoom in and out on the image. Also make sure the image is in focus by using the focus tab on the camcorder. Use this tab to move the frame up and down. Use the yellow box on the screen as a guideline to center the image. When done, rewind and start capturing from the beginning of the film. However, before you start recording, you will need to prepare for creating a detailed log of the films you are watching. Using your laptop and a Word or Google Doc, you will log all the information on the film that you can. Specifically dates, locations, people, and any other important information you can ascertain from the film. When the film is ended, click the stop button and flick the motor switch off. Press the keep button to save the film. If there was any mistakes or you had to stop for some reason, you can use the throw button to delete that capture. Now you can go to the speed change tab. This is where you can see all of the captures. Now you can rewind the film by taking the end of the film from the plastic reel and bringing it across and under the peg. Tuck it into the opening of the original reel and rotate it until it catches. Now you can turn the knob to rewind and flick the motor switch to rewind the film. Remove the film and place it into a box labeled Done. At the end of the day, you will want to go back to the Speed Change tab and view each of the films you captured to choose a frame rate for them. Do so by double-clicking on the film, then using the tab at the bottom right to cycle through frame rates and find the one that looks the best. It is usually helpful to find a scene of people walking or moving if possible. Once you have done that, select Done. Then go to the Speed Selection section on the right, select the speed, and then under that select the plus HD button to add the speed to the film. Now under the Apply Mask section, select No. Once you have done this for each of the films, check the ones you want to process by clicking the checkbox to the left of their names, and then under the Processing section, click the Process button. Depending on how many films you have set up to process, it could take many hours, so it is most efficient to let them process overnight when possible. For the location of the processed films, go to Computer, open the Processing 8mm drive, and then go into the Velocity HD Processed folder. Now on to processing 60mm films. This process is very similar to the 8mm process, except for how you feed the film through the projector. For the 60mm, you will mount the original reel on the right peg, turn the knob to stop, and then feed it through the machine like this. One of the main differences between the 8mm and 60mm reels is that some of the 60mm reels have sound. Just make sure to always leave the sound switch on sound. Once you have successfully fed it through and caught it on the other reel, you can turn the knob to play. Make sure when you turn it to play that there is slack here and here. In the Cinecap Velocity HD Program Settings tab for 60mm films, you will also want to make sure that the drive for processing is the external 60mm processing drive. From here on, the process is practically the same as the 8mm films. Notice that the film should not be upside down on the screen, nor should it be playing in reverse. To fix this, you will need to flip the reel over so the film is feeding out the bottom and rewind it onto an empty reel. Rewind the 60mm films like this. As you complete each film, make sure to place them into your Done box off to the side. Occasionally you will come across negative films. These will need to be processed separately from other films, as you will need to change the settings. Go to the Settings tab and check the box next to Process All Films as Negative. Now you can process negative films. Go to the Process folder afterwards to make sure the films are now black and white. Remember that you will need to go back into settings and uncheck the process negative box before processing any black and white or color films.